Welcome back to the Journeys in Business series. I'm Jess, owner of Jess Creatives, and in this series, I'm sitting down with entrepreneurs to hear about their journeys in business and lessons they have learned. Hey Violeta, thanks so much for joining me.
Hi Jess, thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, so to kick us off, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us about what you do?
Okay, hi, my name is Violeta Nedkova. I'm from Bulgaria. I'm a multi-passionate creative business owner and a rebel. And I help people go back to themselves when they've been misaligned or disconnected with what they do in their life. So, for example, if you find yourself disconnected from your business or have no idea what you want to do in life, I kind of get you back to that place of alignment, if that makes sense. So that's what I do.
Nice. So I think this is really important because I know a lot of entrepreneurs start doing one thing and then find out, oh, I don't like this actually, and or they find out they like something more later on, and so it's scary to like change and whatever. But how did you get into doing this?
Yeah, I feel like my whole entrepreneurial journey was like this huge journey of reinvention and experiments. And I just started doing something like I was doing marketing for startups. And then I just realized that I was not well suited for the industry. And I was in a kind of like a personality crisis. I was like, why did I choose this? What am I doing with my life? Where am I going? Is this what I'm going to do for the rest of my life? And I feel like I've had this moment maybe once every year. So it's very funny, but it's actually better every single time it happens. So every next time I just know better how to handle it. So the first time is really, really scary. You have no idea what's going to happen. But the next time it's going to be okay. I've been through this. And then the next time I just do it like that because I know what to do exactly. So I feel like it's like a learning curve.
Yeah. That's really cool. I think, like I said, a lot of people change and have to reinvent their business or, whatever. So I think it's really cool that you're helping people work through all these things, because I can imagine that it's really like confusing and difficult to just do that by yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes you also need another person's perspective.
Yes.
Because like you can't look at your own life and at your own works through objective eyes, and you have no idea what other people are thinking or seeing. So like sometimes I would talk to my friends who are also business owners, and they would say, oh my God, I love this and you're really good at that. And I'm like, really? Are you serious?
Don't you love that when people like friends or family will just, like, oh, you should really do this. And it's like, what? What are you talking about? But it's good to have an outside perspective. I think I've experienced that with like business friends and business coaches, and it's always super helpful because I think a lot of times we get like tunnel vision and we're just doing our thing, working, and then someone comes along and is like, wait, I see this happening. I see this in you. Like, you should really pursue this. And it's like,
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay. So what's your favorite part about what you do?
My favorite part is the people. I love people. I studied psychology in university.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, I feel like people are the glue to everything I do. So when I think of a creative project to do or regarding my creative business, it's like everything revolves around the people, what they want, what they, the feedback they give me, and collaborations and community. Those are huge parts of my business. And this is maybe why sometimes I forget what I want, because I'm so busy like listening to other people and just like collecting them. Even I love collecting people. I know that's weird, but
Yeah, no, that's really cool.
Yeah, it's like I just need this constant stream of inspiration,
Mm.
and that is why I'm always on Twitter. I'm always discovering new voices, unique voices online, and I collect them in Twitter lists on the Creative Rebel database. And I'm just like so hungry for interesting and new things that are unique and different, because I feel like the internet has become so noisy and so
Yeah.
samey, like everything is the same thing, and I'm really hungry for things that differentiate themselves.
Yeah, no, that's what I love about social media, like being able to find like it's an endless supply of being able to find new people and new inspiration. And like I think about all of my different like business friends that I've had over the years or have made over the years, and how randomly I've like like encountered these people, and just like how we connect. Like some people it's just like, oh, like we connected in a Twitter chat, and then now we're friends. Or I see, like a particular Facebook comment and I'm like, oh yeah, like I have that, like I really like this and that whatever too, and then we connect and it's like, oh, like we have a ton in common and now we're friends. Like it's just really cool that social media like connects us with so many people. And sometimes social media I feel like gets a bad rap for just taking up too much time and like being negative, and which it does have those kind of bad things sometimes, but I'm also like, I love social media because it's just connected me with so many just cool people from
You know, that's interesting that you said that it has a bad rep, because it really does, and especially lately with certain political
yeah.
things happening in the world. And this is why I always have to control what comes in.
Yes.
And that is why sometimes I don't like Facebook, because you don't really control it. But for
Mm-hmm.
example, on Twitter, with Twitter lists, you can literally control who
Yes.
who's in your feed. And I guess that makes me a kind of a control freak, but really it makes a huge difference when all of the tweets that you see are positive and hopeful and rebellious, instead of just people complaining or people saying random shit or whatever.
Yeah, no, definitely agree. Twitter lists are amazing. And I know there are like browser extensions that you can install to like block your Facebook feed. Like so that you only like when you go into Facebook, it blocks everything. So you have to like go to a group or you have to like go to someone's profile to actually see anything. And
That's cool.
yeah, both of those things I know help a lot of people like cut out the noise of social media. Yeah. So what is your big why behind your business?
My big why. Okay, so when I was little, I didn't fit in anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I've led this life of trying to fit in and not really liking myself because I was weird.
Hmm.
And I feel like at some point I grew up and I realized that our differences make us who we are,
Yeah.
make us really different and special, and turn into strengths, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So right now I'm encouraging everyone to be themselves, whoever they are, and my big why is to unite people who
Mm-hmm.
feel weird and misfits, and to see that they're not alone, that they don't have to do this alone, and that they're not weird, that just the opposite, and just give hope and happiness to those people who feel like misfit toys in the world. So that's
Yeah.
why.
Oh, that's amazing. I love that because I personally, I also felt like the weird kid growing up. Like I just, what, and I know I was a little bit weird, but it was just always feeling like I don't fit in. Like and it got better when I went to college, but then still sometimes I felt that like, I don't know, like I don't know where I fit in. And
Yeah.
I finally, like when I became an entrepreneur and started meeting all these people who are also running their businesses and stuff, it was like, oh my gosh, like my people.
That was the same for me too.
Yeah, and again, going back to like connecting with all these, random people from all over the place, that's connected with me with people who, we share things in common. And I'm like,
Mm.
oh, there are other people like me. Like, you know, just that weird little things that we have in common. And it's like, you wouldn't think it's a huge deal, but those little quirks that you've always, you know, people have always been like, why do you do that? And then you find someone who does it and you're like, yay, like we can be friends and do this weird thing together.
Exactly.
Yes, exactly. So if you could go back to when you first started your business, like that first week, first month, whatever, and tell yourself something to kind of prepare for the road ahead, what would you tell yourself?
I would definitely say be patient,
Mm.
because I haven't been patient always. I mean, there were months last year, for example, when I was so impatient. I was driving myself crazy. I was stressed. I was not healthy. I expected results right away. And if they didn't arrive, I thought something was going wrong. I was doing something wrong. It was not going to work out. And I was forgetting that this is, you know, running a business is really a tricky thing. And it takes time. It takes a long time, especially if you're in it for the long run. You know, if you really want to create something of value, not like gimmicks and stuff,
Yeah.
fast growth or
Right.
whatever. And so I was definitely missing the whole point last year, but this year I finally accepted it, and now I feel definitely better because I know this is going to be a marathon, not a sprint.
Yes.
And I'm
Yes.
okay with
Business is a marathon. It's
it.
hard to be patient though, because especially when you see other people who like, I don't know about you, but
Mhm.
I feel like sometimes I know there are not overnight successes, but it takes a lot of work and time. But sometimes I'm like, wait a minute, like I saw like one or two tweets from you, and then all of a sudden you're like in Forbes magazine. How did that happen? You know, like it's like, and I know that's like that's an exaggeration, but sometimes that's what it feels like. I'm like, wait a minute, I saw like one thing, and then all of a sudden you're like on this list of noteworthy people or you know whatever.
Mhm.
But it takes a lot of work and time, and I think the really good things, the valuable things, take a lot of time and effort because you know, it's not going to just, oh, let me just write up this best-selling course like that's really going to help you with X, Y, and Z, and I'm just going to write it up in an hour, and then I'm going to make $1 million tomorrow. Like, that's not how that works, but I wish it did.
And, and it's funny because you always compare yourself
Yes. Oh
to
my
everyone
gosh.
around you.
It's
Always.
so hard to like, that's one thing that I struggle with a lot personally in this online world is like, wait a minute, like going back to like the one or two tweets and then they're in Forbes or whatever. And I'm like, I don't understand. I've been tweeting for like 3 years and I'm not in Forbes. Like what is happening? But yeah.
You know, I feel like it's about priorities
Yes.
sometimes because for example, if your priority number one is getting on Forbes or getting on to speak on TED or you know, something really lofty like making $1 million in the next year. If you're having those kinds of goals and you really hold them in your head, you might, you know, make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, do you really want those things? Like it seems like everyone thinks you're supposed to do these things and you're supposed to have these goals, but maybe my goals are not like your goals. Maybe my goal
Exactly.
is to have fun
Yes.
and to take my time and to meet amazing people and not really care if it's going to be 1 million or
Yeah.
10,000, you know, it's fine. So I think that's the difference between those people that.
Yeah, because you're like, I always tell people like your goals are different than my goals, so your version of success looks different than mine. And like, for me, $1 million is not a goal of mine. Like I could care less. I mean, yes, obviously $1 million would be nice, but I don't want to honestly, like I don't want, I know I can only imagine the work that I would have to do to make that happen. And I'm just like, no,
Yeah.
like for me, having a flexible schedule, not being constantly stressed out, being
Mhm.
able to really help my clients and my community and answer questions. Like yesterday, I sent out an email to my list and was like, what questions do you have about, like, what problems are you having with your website right now? Like what, and I got like 10 or 12 emails, and people were like, yes, how do I make this happen in WordPress? And how do I make this happen in Squarespace? And I was like, I had the freedom, the flexibility to actually respond to them.
Yeah.
And like write them. And so many of the people were like, oh my gosh, you are a lifesaver. Like, where can I send champagne? And like, I mean, and like that to me, like helping those people means so much more to me than making $1 million. Because I'm like, I would much rather help you fix this tiny little thing on your website rather than like me sit over here and stress out trying to make $1 million, because what am I going to do with the $1 million? I mean, I'm sure I can find some things to do with it, but it's like,
maybe buy a house for my parents.
Exactly. Yeah. But different goals, different success. I love that. So if you were starting your business today, is there anything you would do differently than what you have done? Like, would you, like for me, if I were starting my business today, I would have started doing video way sooner than when I started.
Yeah. You know, there are some things, for example, my website at the start was awful. So, I transferred to Squarespace in 2015. And before that, it was awful. You know, I didn't know that you could find, you know, a software that would help you create simple, elegant websites. So I didn't know that. I thought everything was plugins and tech and all the awful things.
All those headaches.
Yeah, so definitely that would be one of the things. And the other thing is maybe looking for help earlier, because I feel like I never delegated enough. I'm going to do this, all of this myself. I can do it. And it's this point of pride for you that you can do all the things, but at the same time, you're driving yourself crazy and you're burnt out.
Yes.
And it's not really proud. It's not a proud moment when you're burnt out.
No, it's not a fun moment either. Like, it's exhausting. And I've gone through burnout in different phases. Like, sometimes it's just a short burnout where I'm like, I just need like a few days off and then I'm good. And then other times it's like, oh my gosh, like I need to lighten my client load, take some downtime. And I mean, I don't think a lot of people realize that burnout is real. I think, and for a long time, I didn't think it was real. Like, I was one of those people that was like, I love what I do. I love it. It's fun and I get to work for myself and like go out to lunch with friends. And I didn't think burnout was a real thing. I'm like, that's for the people who like work even harder and like don't fully love what they do. I don't know what I thought. And then I just remember like, I think this is burnout. Like, I think this is what burnout feels like. And I was like, oh yeah, everyone can go through this. Even if you love what you do, you can still burn out.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
It's kind of like burning out on your favorite drink. Like, if you drink the same thing every single day or eat the same thing every single day for a year, you're eventually going to be burned out by it and want something else to eat or drink.
Especially if you're drinking too fast or
like it's a real thing.
I just thought of one more thing. I could have done different last year. Okay, so the Christmas before last, I decided that I would create a course because everyone else was.
Everyone was creating. Yeah, I did that too.
Everybody did that. And no shame.
No judgment here.
And I decided to listen to the experts and pre-sell it.
And how did that go?
Very badly. I had to refund everyone because I didn't realize that if you start from scratch on something that you haven't done before and you end up hating it, of course you're not gonna, finish it. And if you don't finish it, I mean, people have already paid you. So I'm not really big on pre-selling things anymore, especially if I haven't tried it. If I've tried it 100 times, I'm gonna pre-sell it.
Right.
But it's a huge difference. So that's definitely a little bit of regret there.
Yeah, no, that makes sense because and that's something like in business, you just have to try things. It's like trial and error. And sometimes it's like,
Yeah, definitely.
yeah, I'm not doing that again.
Yeah,
That was a big error. Let's not do that. Let's try something else. But it's
yeah,
good to
so
realize that and like for your business and
yeah.
and it's also obviously it's good that you were honest and refunded the people instead of because I know some people.
Yeah, they were so nice.
Yeah, and because I know there are people, I mean, I don't know anyone that's like ripped off people on a course, but I know there are people out there who, hire somebody and then the person like disappears. Like I hear all the
Yeah,
time, they hire a designer or a copywriter or whatever, and the person just completely disappears.
that's
So
awful.
I love that you were honest and you were like, hey, this isn't done, this isn't ready, and so here's a refund. Because it's very humbling when you have to admit, like, okay,
Yeah.
this didn't work.
Yeah, and you're thinking, oh, this again, I can't finish things. I'm a multi-passionate, doing 100 things at once. I'm not serious. I'm not responsible. You can't count on me. And you're having these awful doubts in your head
Yeah,
that is always going to happen. And it's not true. It's not true.
which is,
So,
it's good.
yeah,
It's hard to fight through those doubts, but it's important, especially when you like, I don't know about you, but sometimes I know the truth, but I still doubt. And so like, I have like the angel and the devil on my shoulders and like, angel's like, no, like this is not real. Like, you know that you can do this. And then the devil's like, no. And I just go back
you
and
know,
forth.
you know what helps? Yeah, definitely. You know what helps? Knowing yourself, knowing
Yes.
yourself so well that you know you've done it before. You know this is going to happen next. You know your patterns and the way you work and the way your mind works,
Mm-hmm.
and accepting who you are. Because sometimes I've fought myself, like, why can't you finish things? Or why do this in this way that everybody else is doing? And that's ridiculous. Why would I do anything in any other manner than the way I do it? So the sooner you accept who you are and all of your shortcomings or what you perceive as shortcomings, the better you feel and the better you will handle your tasks and
Yeah,
your projects, your business, and so forth.
absolutely. Absolutely. So what do you have coming up this year?
Um, well, in 2017, it's going to be very exciting because I'm working on this thing called the Creative Rebel Academy.
Ooh.
And it's going to be exciting because I'm working with all of those creative thinkers and creative business owners who are on my journey basically, and we're helping each other, not listen to the noise and not listen to all the bullshit and not listen to all the let's make $1 million
Mm-hmm.
for courses, and try to tune this out and start doing the things we do and the way we do it, because I really want the internet to be more encouraging of who you are and how you do things. I feel
Yeah.
like there's all this noise that is on top there, and when you bypass the top, I guess, when you go really deep, you find the people that you want to know, the people that think like you think and who are authentic to themselves and
Yeah.
to their own way. So I guess I'm just building this community of people who blaze their own paths instead of following other people's.
Yeah.
Um, and definitely just building the support like bubble for these people and for myself, because I need that as much as
Yeah.
they do, like
I love it.
fun.
I
Yeah.
love it. So where can we connect with you online to follow you and to hear more about the Academy?
Well, the Creative Rebel Academy has its own site, creativerebelacademy.com. That's easy. I have also my site, violetanedkova.com. That's also easy. And you can mostly find me on Twitter at Violeta Nedkova, because I'm always there. I'm addicted to it.
Love it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for chatting with me today.
Oh, thanks so much for having me. We talked about some real things
Yeah.
here.